Now, so consolidation is nothing but combining n similar financial statements into one financial statement at a group level is nothing but the consolidation. So when we go for consolidation, whenever I want my company performance at a specific group level, then I'll go with a consolidation where I am taking the individual financial statements and I'll be combining them and I will showcase at a consolidated statement at a group level, right? So as a whole, I can say one thing, that BPC will be dealing with planning, budgeting, forecasting and consolidation, right? Now, similar to the planning terminology, when I say BPC is for planning and consolidation, so here today we are going to understand the BPC terminology, meaning in order to deal with the planning and consolidation via BPC, what are the components needed? Before going to that, now if you can look at here, BPC is the product which is always available in two different flavors. Though it is available in two different flavors, both are giving more or less the similar set of services, but SAP is recommending the customer to go with a BPC NetWeaver rather than the BPC Microsoft. The main reason is, in the BPC NetWeaver, BPC is a front end, BW is a back end, right? So both BPC and BW are part of the SAP products only. When you are using the multiple products, they have a proper integration, right? So what would be the advantage if they have proper integration? What would be the advantage? Now, so first let me put the today's topic as a BPC terminology. There I am going to list out what are the core components available. When I say core components, meaning in order to deal with the planning and consolidation, what kind of components are needed and what is their importance and all, we will try to understand now. BPC terminology. Here, let me try to take BPC and here I'll be taking a BW. Now, I am going to list out the core components in BPC. So first one is environment. This table is very important. Almost we will be recollecting this table throughout the course 30 to 40 times. So please remember this table. Environment. Next one is a model. Next one is a dimension. Next one is the property and the last one is the member. Now, here these are the core components. When I say core components, without having these components we cannot do either planning or consolidation, right? When there is no planning or consolidation, there is no meaning for the BPC product and all, right? Now here I made one statement that in the BPC NetWeaver, so environment, model, dimension, property, member are the core components, and in the BPC NetWeaver, BPC and BW are tightly integrated, meaning whatever the component you are creating in the backend in BPC system, it will get automatically reflected in the BW, but it is going to reflected with a different component. In other way, I can say whatever the component you are creating in the BPC, relevant and equivalent component will be created in the backend BW system. So here, what could be the relevant components? First one is a info area. Next one is model, nothing but info cube. Next dimension is nothing but info object. This is nothing but attribute. And the last one is nothing but master data of key information. Right now, so here our responsibility is to create the components in BPC only, and its relevant reflections will be automatically happen in the backend BW system. So if I create environment, info area, model, info cube, dimension, info object, a property, attribute, and member, master data of key information. Now we will try to understand what exactly the meaning for environment, model, dimension, property, member, and how they are interlinked with each other. Now first one is a environment. So, environment is nothing but an organization or a company for which you are going to do the BPC implementation. In other way, I can say environment is, so I had taken a Tata is the environment. This is an environment. Next. This is a environment. Now, when you take any organization, there will be a multiple business processes. For example, I am taking a sales planning. Next one is a operational expenses planning. Next one is the capital expenses planning. Right? So here, what are all these things? These are the different processes we are having. Now, each and every one is a one business process. Each business process will be considered as a one model in BPC. So I'm trying to say Tata is an organization, right? An organization or a company for which you are going to do the BPC implementation is nothing but the environment, right? Each organization will have a multiple business processes. Each business process, I am calling it as a one model. Now, next thing is, in order to deal with the each, so here for example, if I want to perform the sales planning or if I want to execute the sales planning for Tata organization, I may need group of fields information. Generally, sales planning is nothing but it's a process of doing the estimation with respect to the product. And in the sales planning process point of view, you need to have not only the product but also couple of fields information you need it: account, category, entity, time, product. Next one is the currency. Right, and so these many fields are needed in order to execute the sales planning process. Right? So here each field will be considered as a one dimension in BPC. Now, so sales planning point of view, product is a mandatory, whereas in the operational expenses planning point of view, here planning will be done against the cost center. So everything will be same, but instead of product we will be having a cost center. Right? Similarly, operational expenses planning will happen with respect to the project or WBS element. In other way, I can say everything will be same, but instead of cost center, here I'll be having a project. Right? So if you try to observe one thing, for each and every business process of an organization, you may need set of fields information. Each field I am calling it as a one dimension. Sales planning will happen with respect to product. Operational expenses planning will happen with respect to the cost center. Capital expenses planning will happen with respect to the project and all. So in order to deal with the sales planning, I need to have a these six dimensions. Right? Now, so far how many things we discussed? Environment, model, dimension. What are the leftover thing? Property and member. Property and member are associated with the dimension. In other way, I can say property and member are part of the dimension. Right? Now, come here. Let's have a basic understanding of what exactly the meaning for property and member. I am going to take a product dimension here. So let's assume that we purchased one product called mobile. Generally, whenever you are purchasing a product, it has its own features and all. So let me try to take something like a manufacturer. Next one is a model number. Next one is the memory capacity and also color. Like that, we'll be having a couple of features and all. In BPC, all the features of a dimension will be called as a properties, because these are describing about the product, right? So these are nothing but the properties of the product dimension. So manufacturer, let me try to put some value here. So here I'm going to put it as a Sony, and here SX60 is the model, memory capacity is a 32 GB and color is a white. If you observe one thing, here the product is a dimension, it has the features. We are calling these features as a properties. And what about this Sony SX60 32 GB white? These are the property values. These are the property values. Whereas the mobile Mobile is the key information, meaning if I replace the mobile with laptop, again these values will vary. If I replace this with mouse, again these values will vary and all, right? And so here, based on this, these values are keep changing. In other way, I can say this section is the key information, this is the non-key information. So key information will be called as a member in BPC. Now let me try to give the breakup for the whole block. So here product is a dimension, product is a dimension now, and these I am calling them as a properties. So here I am going to put them as a properties. Each and every one is a property. Now these are nothing but property values. Property values. Now let me try to take property is nothing but this one. Now here mobile I am calling as a key information. Key information will be called as a member. Within the bracket I am going to put it as a key information, whereas property values are nothing but the non-key information. Now try to observe one thing here. So let me try to give the relationship. So this is a product and this is a member, right? Now combination of member and property values, combination of member and property values are nothing but the master data. So I can put in this fashion. The whole thing I am considering it as a master data. Master data is nothing but member plus property values is nothing but the master data. In other way, I can say master data is nothing but key and non-key information. Let me try to put this one with some other color. Key and non-key information is nothing but the master data. This master data will be maintained in the dimension level. Now let's try to have a clear-cut understanding. Now product is a dimension, and product will have one or more properties and one or more members also. Combination of member plus property values is nothing but the master data. This master data will be maintained in the dimension level, right? Now so let's try to recap on what we discussed on the core components. So in BPC level, if you want to deal with either planning or consolidation, there will be a 5 core components. They are environment, model, dimension, property, member. And our responsibility is to create the components in BPC only. Its relevant reflections will be automatically taken care by the system itself, because BPC and BW are tightly integrated. This integration part was already established by SAP, right? Now here, environment is nothing but an organization or a company for which you are going to do the BPC implementation. Model is nothing but here each and every business process of an organization will be considered as a model. Here, sales planning is one model, operational expenses planning is one model, capital expenses planning is one model. Based on the planning scenario, the combination of fields are going to be varies. Here, each field we are considering it as a one dimension, right? And each dimension will have a one or more properties and one or more members. Combination of properties, values plus members is nothing but the master data. Now try to give the interconnectivity between the core components of BPC. One environment can have a multiple models, and each model can have a multiple dimensions, and each dimension can have a one or more properties and one or more members, right? Now let me try to see here. Now the next this thing is interconnectivity between the core components of BPC. Now I'm going to take first one is a environment. Each environment will have a multiple models. Model 1, model N. Now each model will have a multiple dimensions. Dimension 1, each dimension will have one or more properties and one or more members, right? Now, here I'll be taking property 1, property n. Similarly, dimension will have a members also. Member 1, it's taking like this. Combination of members plus property values is nothing but the master data, right? Now, combination of member plus property values is nothing but the master data. Simply I'll put it as a and each model will have a multiple dimensions, and each dimension will have a one or more properties and one or more members. Next, combination of this and this is nothing but the master data. So let me try to go with this. Master data go with yep. So property values and these are nothing but members. Combination of member plus property values is nothing but the master data, right? So this is the interconnectivity. So today we are trying to understand what are the core components, what are their reflections, and the basic understanding of each and every core component, and then how they are interlinked with each other. Meaning, environment will have a group of models, each model will have a group of dimensions, each dimension will have a one or more properties, sorry, one or more members and one or more properties. Combination of member plus property values is nothing but the master data. Now, there are important rules which we have to follow. I am putting that as a golden rules in BPC, right? So here, before you are going to do either planning or consolidation, you have to keep that in mind and all. So please, so let me try to list out what are the golden rules in BPC. These are very important one. Without having this, we cannot go for a design part and all. Hence, I am going with golden rules in BPC. If you understood the today's session, that will give 60 to 70% of comfort level in throughout the course and all. So let's focus on this session. Now, Now, first point, environment is a base component which does not hold any data physically. What exactly the meaning? And so environment is a base component, meaning without having a environment we cannot do anything. Before you are going to do either planning or consolidation related activities, environment is a mandatory. Environment is a base component and it does not hold any data physically, which does not hold any data is the first thing, but this is the mandatory component. Even if you want to get connected to the BPC, you need to have the environment. Now, second point is environment cannot be created by our own, meaning we have to create or we have to take a copy from existing environment only. Try to observe this one. Environment cannot be created by ourselves, but in the first point we made one statement that so without having an environment we cannot do anything and all. But how you can get the environment in the BPC system? So here we are going to take a copy from existing environment. When I say existing, someone has to create it, but we are clearly saying that no one have an access to create it. Then how it is possible? So here, as part of the BPC product delivery from SAP, they will give one standard environment called environment shell that we are going to take a copy and you can use as per your client requirement. So simply I can say one thing, that environment cannot be created by our own, meaning we have to take a copy from existing environment only. So as part of the BPC product delivery, SAP will give one standard environment called environment shell. So we will be taking a copy of this one and all, right? So we can able to take only the copy. And what is the standard environment? That is the environment shell is the standard environment. So first point is we need to have an environment. To have the environment, we have to take a copy from existing environment. It is not possible to create by our own and all. What could be the existing environment? Environment shell and all. How? Next point is, if you want to create a dimensions or models, it will be created under the environment level only. Meaning, so environment is the prerequisite to create either dimension or models. So dimensions and models will be created at environment level only. next point is dimension will be used for master data. We will see what exactly the meaning for master data and all will be used to store the master data, whereas model will be used to store the transactional data. Next, sixth point here is, so dimensions and models will be created at environment level only. Dimension is for master data, model is for transactional data. Right now, one dimension can be reused in multiple models but all these models should belongs to same environment only. What is the thing I am trying to say here? And dimension is a reusable component. What exactly the meaning for that one? Now see here, if you look at sales planning, operational, capital expenses, right? So here account, category, entity, time and currency, all are the common things only. What we are going to do, we will create only one account dimension, but this will be reused in sales planning, operational expenses, capital expenses. If you have any other models also, you can able to use the same dimension, meaning dimension is a reusable component, but before you are going to reuse it, all these models should belongs to one environment only. What is the reason? Because dimensions and models cannot be shared across two different environments, and models cannot be shared across two different environments. Dimensions and models cannot be shared across two different environments, meaning whatever the dimensions and models you created within the environment, that will be limited to that environment only. Right now, next one is, we made a statement that model is nothing but group of dimensions, but in order to create a model, A, comma, C, comma, E, comma, T are the mandatory dimension types. Meaning, no matter whether you are dealing with the sales planning, capital expenses or operational expenses, ACET are the mandatory dimensions to create a model. Right? So here A stands for account, C for category, and E for entity, and T for time. Right? And so next one is similar to the ACET. Similar to the ACET, SAP has given totally 10 dimension types. SAP has given totally 10 dimension types. Out of 10, 9 are the standard and plus 1 user defined one. Here try to understand one thing. SAP has given totally 10 dimension types. Out of 10, 9 are the standard and 1 is a user defined. We have a facility, we can go and create a dimension of standard type or dimension of user defined type and all. Right? And now this is what the thing. Next one is Generally, if we want to communicate to the system and all, user ID password will be asking, right? Similarly, BPC is also one system. If you want to communicate with BPC, you need to have a user or credentials, we need it basically, right? But in BPC, user cannot be created directly. Then how you will get communicated? This user will be created in the backend BW system with the help of a SAP security or basis person. Once it is created, then we will be adding that user at the environment level in BPC. So what is the statement I am saying here? User cannot be created in BPC, meaning it has to be created in the backend BW system with the help of SAP base security or basis consultant, and then it will be added at environment level in BPC, right? So this is the 10th point. User cannot be created directly in BPC. We have to create it and then it will be added at environment level. Right, so this is what the thing. And there is a one more point. We made one statement that BPC will be used for planning and consolidation. Consolidation is generally happened against the actual data. That actual data will be coming from the source system, whereas planning is nothing but a purely an imagination, right? Meaning we are going to estimate something based on the analysis. Estimation related things we are going to store at the database level. Storing or writing the data to the database is nothing but the data posting. If you want to post the data in BPC, you have to post the data only at base level but not at the parent level. Let me try to put this as a sentence. In BPC, data posting cannot be done against the parent or formula, meaning we have to post the data at base level only. What exactly here three keywords we have to understand. Data posting. Data posting is nothing but writing the data back to the database. Now, where we have to post data at base level only. What exactly the meaning for base level and what is the meaning for parent? Now, generally if you consider 2006 Q2 in the 2006 Q2 will have what on it? So 2006 April. Similarly, now 2006-04. Next one is the 2006-05 and 2006-06. Now try to see here, this is the second quarter and these are the 3 months we are having and all. So in this context, this is a parent, these are the base members. Now base member is nothing but what only? A member which don't have a children. Parent is nothing but a member which have a children, right? Now as per the above statement, if I want to estimate any data, I cannot estimate at the 2006 Q2 level because this is a parent. This is a parent and all. But I can able to post the data at, this is 10. I can able to do this way. So data posting can be done at the base level but not at the parent level. But in the analysis point of view, I may need to do the analysis at base level, I may need to do the analysis at parent level. System should allow me to do the both the options. Like if I want to go with all the quarter level analysis, it should allow. But how it will happen and the quarter value, how it is going to get? It is going to get sum of its children's value. In other way, I can say posting point of view, system won't allow you to do the data at parent level, but however in the report level it will showcase the data not only at the base level but also at the parent level. Parent level value is nothing but sum of its children values, sum of its children values and all, right? This is what the thing. And there is a last sentence, that is, note, it is highly recommended not to do the modifications or changes directly to the standard environment. What is that, Annie? Environment shell. Indirectly, I am trying to say one thing, that don't disturb the original one or standard one given by SAP. If you really want, let's take a copy and do the modification, whatever you want, right? Now, not to do the modifications or changes. Now, let me try to recap on what we discussed on the golden rules in BPC. Now, first one is, please focus on these things only. These are very important ones. So give the topmost priority to the today's session. In the golden rules of BPC, first one is a environment is a base component which does not hold any data physically. So you need to have an environment no matter what activity you are going to do in BPC. Second point is, environment cannot be created by our own, meaning we have to take a copy from the existing environment. So how we can get the existing environment? SAP itself will give one standard environment, that is called environment shell. So at the beginning you will be having only one environment, that is a environment shell. We will be taking a copy, from there we can proceed as per the business requirement. Dimensions and models will be created at environment level only. Next, dimension is for master data, and whereas model is for transactional data. Next one is, one dimension can be reused in multiple models, but all the models should belongs to single environment only, because dimensions and models cannot be shared across two different environments. Whatever the dimensions and models you created, that will be limited to that environment only. So always it is recommended in the real time, go for only one environment for each client, right? Now, ACET are the mandatory dimension types. Here A stands for account, C for category and E for entity, and T for time and all. So no matter what kind of model you are going to create, so ACET are the mandatory. Without having this, meaning even if you are missing one dimension, system won't allow you to create a model. Right now, next one is similar to the ACET. SAP has given totally 10 dimension types. Out of 10, 9 are the standard ones, and one is a user defined. You can go and create either standard one or user defined type and all. Next one, user cannot be created directly in BPC. Meaning it has to be created in the backend BW system with the help of SAP security or basis consultant, and once it is created, then we will be adding at the environment level and all. Next one is in BPC, data posting cannot be done against the parent or formula, meaning we can able to post the data only at the base level. Right now, this is what the thing you can able to do it, but here you cannot able to post the data, but in the report level system itself, it will go and showcase the value by summing up these values during the runtime of the report. In other way, it is minimizing our manual effort instead of posting both at the base level and parent level. You do only at the base level. I'll take care of all these things. I'll make sure that in the report level, meaning whenever you are doing an analysis, not only at the base level but also at parent level also I will showcase. How it will showcase at the parent level? Some of its children values. Next one is, it is highly recommended, don't do the modifications or changes directly in the environment shell. Keep the original one as it is. If you want, take a copy and do the modification, but don't disturb the original one. Right? So today we are trying to understand what only BPC terminology, where we listed out what are the core components and how they will be reflecting in the backend BW system, and what is the basic understanding of environment, model, dimension, property and member, and how they are interlinked with each other. And finally, we have seen the golden rules in BPC. Right now, this is what the today's session. Now, so please let me know if you have any questions or concerns so that I will try to clarify. So you can even raise the concern via chat also. So okay, fine then. So I am assuming that my sincere request is like, please go through this session, and I am going to share that recording. Please go through this session, and before to the tomorrow's class, if you are comfortable enough with this one, it will give lot of comfort. So based on the understanding of today only, tomorrow also I am going to give a quick recap on the whole session for 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'll proceed for the next concepts and all. Right? And please give more weightage to the today's session. Right? Yeah. Most probably tomorrow we will have a basic understanding of master and transaction data, and then we will do at the system level, meaning from tomorrow onwards it would be majorly onto the system and less onto the theoretical part and all. Right? And so fine then. So I'm ending up the meeting now.